All right, let's chant together. Om Bhadram Karnevhi Shunayama Devaha Bhadram Pashye Maksha Viryajatraha Sthirair Angais Pushtuvag Shastanubhihi Vyashema Devahitam Yadayuhu Shastina Indro Vriddhashravaha Shastina Pusha Vishwavedaha Shasti Nastaksho Arishtanemihi Shasti no Brihaspatir Dadhatu Om Shantihi Shantihi Shantihi. All right. So we are studying the Mundaka Upanishad, second Mundaka, that is the second chapter on the Mundaka, that too, second part of the second chapter. And this chapter is very fascinating, loaded with many great ideas. We first saw how spiritual pursuit was compared with the art of archery. Just like we with a bow and arrow hit a target, Upanishad suggested we hit the target, that is, be one with Brahman, ultimate reality, with the help of the bow. The bow is the Om. Bow is the Om. With the help of the Om, that is, Om will propel us, help us to get there. And for succeed in this archery, one needs a few qualities. That is, one should be alert, apramatta, alert. Otherwise, we, as an archer, if they don't have alertness or concentration, they can keep on trying. They can keep on shooting arrows after arrows, but they will never make it to the target, the bull's eye. But here, Upanishad says that one to hit the target, that is to be one with Brahman, that is the illumination, one has to be alert as well as has to have the practice of concentration and meditation, all of this. Now, and the next verse, Upanishad says, what are the three great benefits, three results of illumination, spiritual illumination? What happens when we encounter, experience our infinite dimension? We become one with that vast reality called Brahman or Purusha. What happens then? What are the impact of such a realization? That is the next mantra, which is oft quoted of Mundaka Upanishad. Very now and then it is quoted. It is quoted very much by Acharya Shankara. Shankaracharya, in his different commentaries, very often quotes this mantra, bhidyate hṛdaya granthiḥ. So that we shall take up for discussion today. Vidyate hṛdaya granthiḥ chidyante sarva saṃśayāḥ kṣīyante cha asya karmāṇi tasmin dṛṣṭe parāvare. When the self is seen in both its higher and lower aspects, the knot of the heart is untied. All doubts vanish and the bonds of karma fall away. So, three transformative experiences of realization. This verse is speaking about the transformative power of self-realization. What are they? In short, that it is first, dissolution of the ignorance. Second, all doubts are resolved and all the karma that are in store, they are all exhausted. So let us take the verse phrase by phrase. Okay. The last part is tasmin dṛṣṭe parāvare. When that reality is seen in both its aspects. So dṛṣṭe means when the reality is seen. Seen means here not literally seeing through the eyes, but here to see means what?
To understand?
Yeah, experience.
Yes, yes. And the name for that is experience?
Realize.
Aparokshanubhuti.
Yes, yeah, aparokshanubhuti. We should remember this thing, okay? This word, this idea, aparokshanubhuti, we should remember. This is the last stage, okay? We do shravana here, we study, we do manana, we do rational analysis and discussion on it. Then nididhyasana, we do meditation on the idea that we are not limited. But finally, aparokshanubhuti, the transcendental direct experience. If you remember last class, this same aparokshanubhuti was given a different name. What was that? In the last verse, in our last class, the same aparokshanubhuti was referred to by a different name.
Vijnanena.
Vijnanena. Thank you so much. Vijnana. Okay? That is the difference between jnana and vijnana. Jnana is intellectually knowing it. It is indirect knowledge. And aparokshanubhuti is vijnana. Knowing it, knowing the reality as it is. Vishesha rupena. Especially means here directly. Directly is how? Not through the eyes, but through intuition. So it is transcendental experience. When that reality is seen, paro and avado. Paro and avado means higher and lower. So what is higher and lower? When that reality is experienced, the higher and also in lower aspects. So what is higher and what is lower? Any guess?
Transcendent and immanent.
Yeah, exactly. This is bullseye, hitting the bullseye. Transcendent aspect as well as is immanent aspect. That same reality, it is transcendental as well as Upanishad reminds us again and again that reality again has become everything. Okay, so both the aspects, not only is transcendental aspect, but also that reality has become everything. Otherwise, the realization is kind of half. We have to have both the experience. That is transcendentally in meditation or in a trance-like state where we are not aware of anything. That is transcendental. We are not aware of this world, only about the reality. But then the realization is not complete. Same has to be realized, that same reality has become everything. Otherwise, my experience will be, I am Atma, I am that, okay, past or anything. But what about my connection with this world. So that reality has also become the whole world. Okay. So Pado and Avado, we have to realize that transcendentally as well as immanent, referred to again Sri Ramakrishna's spiritual experience. Okay, that it is transcendental in a sense that he is seeing light of consciousness everywhere. He is not seeing the image of Kali and utensils or the floor or the door as we are seeing them. He's seeing the transcendental aspect of them, that all of them are soaked in pure consciousness. At the same time, that reality has itself become, Sri Ramakrishna uses the example, I saw that that reality itself has become everything, including the cat. There's a cat in the temple, and he says, even the cat I saw, that same reality has become the cat. So sometimes it helps when this type of abstract ideas, transcendental and immanent, I think if we study or remember the experiences of realized souls, they will always speak in these terms, that unity and everything is soaked in one reality, everything has become one, the boundary between I and you has become blurred, all of this. So tasmin dṛṣṭe parāvare, when that spiritual reality is experienced as in its both transcendental way and also its immanent dimension, then what happens? What happens then? Yes, Preetiji, you have raised your hand. Yeah.
Maharaj, sorry to interrupt. I
No,
am
no,
just
fine.
wondering.
Yeah.
So this is so vijnana is when you realize, in both aspects, not just one. So
Right.
based on this, can we extend it to Totapuri Maharaj, that he was a jnani and not a vijnani, and that's what changed after he came to Thakur?
Yeah. Can you just explain that? What happened to Totapuri after he met Sri Ramakrishna?
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, initially because he was an Advaitin, so and so he actually did not believe in the existence of, or his Thakur's devotion to or worship of the Divine Mother. And then of course he only stayed 3 days at any given place, but he ended up spending a few months there, I think. And one night I think he became very ill with and then he was so upset that he wanted to drown himself in the Ganges. And then when he tried to, he found that there was not enough water in the Ganges to drown himself, and that immediately gave him the realization that it's not normal. And so I think he said, "Ye kya Maya, Devi Maya," or something like that, he said. And then he had I believe, the vision of Divine Mother, and he understood that this is also true, not just his own realization, but so I'm just wondering that, yeah.
Yeah, both the aspect, that is the full realization. Okay. And someone mentioned, who? Anna said Prabhupada translation uses impersonal and personal is realized. So impersonal and personal, that becomes relevant just now, that seeing God as impersonal way as well as the personal way. That is Prabhupada translation. Higher and lower means lower is seeing that reality in some form, personal God. And the higher reality is impersonal, God without any personal form or personal qualities. So that is higher and lower. Higher and lower
So would that be saguna, nirguna?
Yes, saguna and nirguna, right? Exactly. So, but here I'll prefer. I thought over this translation. Then I thought higher and lower. Here is better is transcendent and immanent aspect. Shankaracharya has explained it as Karya Brahma and Karana Brahma. That is the cause and the effect. It is same, transcendent and immanent. Cause means that reality when it is in its own form, in its own nature. It is the cause, and also it is also the effect. It has also become the world. It is also immanent in the world. In that sense, cause and effect. So I preferred then transcendental and immanent. Okay, cause, effect, transcendent, immanent, impersonal, personal, all of them are valid translations of the word. But then what happens? What happens when such a thing happens? I just remember, if I forget later on, one long time ago, when Swami Shivananda was our president in Belur Math. That is, you may think of 1920s, even earlier than that. So one monk approached him and said that it appears to me I have had spiritual realization. Then Shivanandaji, an expert, he said, do you have any doubt about your realization? He said, no. Then Shivanandaji asked, even a little doubt whether you had realization or not? Then he said, yeah, I have still a doubt left that whether I had the full realization or not. Then Shivanandaji tell, then go ahead. You are yet to be there. Because I think from the tone, the way, tone and all of this, he could, ferret it out or find out that realization is not full yet. So he said, you are yet to go. Why? This verse says, when such a realization happens, what happens? One of the things that happen is all the doubts are dissolved. And interestingly, a new book has come, Varieties of Spiritual Experience. Varieties of Spiritual Experience, in the style of Varieties of Religious Experience that William James wrote more than a century ago. A new book has come from one professor from, I think, Northwest University in Boston, another professor from England. So they try to map all the varieties of spiritual experiences. And so there are a lot of, I have not read the book, I have just read the review of the book. The book is costly, so I have not purchased yet. When it becomes second-hand, used, then I will purchase it. So there, one thing both the professors say that you just know that you had the experience. And they used a different term which I cannot use here in this platform. They use that it is like another experience, they say. It is that kind of test. You know it happened. You know it happened. You have no doubt about it. So I thought, exactly, that this is the thing Upanishad is telling, that all doubts are gone. That doubts related to what is the nature of that reality, or what the experience is like, and so many other questions we have about that reality, or even the nature of the experience itself. All the doubts will remain until we see that reality in both its dimensions, the transcendent dimension or immanent dimension. So that is what this verse is telling. Three things happened. One is bhidyate hṛdaya granthiḥ. Knots of the heart is cut asunder. So what is knots of the heart? If you remember, we encountered this idea, knots of the heart, earlier too, in the first part of this second Mundaka, last mantra, 2.1.10. 2.1.10, we had the idea called these knots of the heart. So what is knot? Here, just like we have, sometimes we have blockage in the heart, that causes trouble. Similarly, these knots are like emotional or psychological or spiritual blockages, like stress, anxiety, or emotional baggage, that all of this weigh down our heart, like emotional trauma, inner conflict. All these are comparable to the knots of the heart that tie us down, that give us trouble. A knot in our artery, heart, it's a problematic one. It gives us keeping trouble, and we are at risk, and we cannot live to our fullest, physical health if there are blockages. We are short of energy, short of breath. All of these things happen if there is a blockage in the heart. Similarly, this is knot of the heart. What are the knots of the heart? Yoga Sutra. We shall come to Upanishadic explanation of the knots of the heart. What are the blockages of the heart? Yoga Sutra says, every scripture has spoken about these knots of the heart, whether Shadaripu, the six enemies, or say Tanha of Buddhism, or Patanjali says klesha. Klesha means afflictions. Afflictions means things which keep giving us trouble. So Patanjali says 5 knots, 5 afflictions. What are those?
Avidya,
Vidya,
asmita,
asmita,
raga,
dvesha,
vesha, have been
Abhinivesha.
abhinivesha.
yes.
So what are the English meanings?
Ignorance,
Ignorance is what?
avidya,
Avidya is ignorance. Ignorance about what?
who you really are,
Yeah.
nature.
Okay, spiritual nature. Being ignorant about our spiritual nature, not about ignorant about other things. Okay, I am ignorant about many things. That is not avidya here. Okay, here avidya is ignorance about our spiritual nature, particularly that kind of ignorance. Then
Asmita,
asmita means what?
it's your false identification with things other than what you are.
Ego.
Yeah.
What did you say?
Ego.
Ego is wrong identification. Okay, all right. Then
Raga,
raga is what?
attachment.
Attachment means strong liking, right? Strong liking.
Right.
Yeah, all right. Then
Vesha,
desha means
aversion or
aversion. Yeah, strong dislike. And finally
fear of dying
fear
and attachment to living.
fear of dying, and I believe not only fear of dying, any type of fear. Avinivesha is fear, living in fear, anxiety or constant worry and all of these. Um, yeah, all of these can be classified under the word avinivesha. Uneasiness, uncomfortable, and always a sense of tension, okay, stress. All of this fear, anxiety can come under avinivesha. These are the knots of the heart.
Raj, I thought it was clinging to life. Huh?
Clinging to life, yeah, that is fear of death. Fear of death, clinging to life. Clinging to life is not a problem. Problem is clinging to this body, that let this body live forever. This is avinivesha. So the root of that is the idea, I am this body. I am this body, as I am exclusively this body. So my living forever means I have to live along with this body. So fear of death and clinging to this body particularly, that is avinivesha. But I believe avinivesha would include every type of fear. Every type of fear. All right. Shankara, someone? Okay, yes.
So just to help the Buddha identify these hindrances, I won't say the Pali, but sensual desire, ill will and anger, sloth and torpor, restlessness and worry, and doubt.
Doubt, okay.
Yeah, so it overlaps, but.
Yeah. You know what? Exactly these words have been used by Patanjali in Sanskrit. What are the obstacles for meditation? Exactly, I think the words are saṃśayāḥ, durmanasya. Durmanasya means, having low energy, low mental energy, and stupor. Stupor is laya or alasya. I think alasya, the word alasya has been used by Patanjali. So thank you. Those are also knots. So Shankaracharya says, vasana. What is vasana? Vasana means desire, which are born out of samskaras.
Yeah.
Samskaras. That is what it is like. So I go to, I taste a wonderful chocolate, okay, and love the chocolate. So that eating the chocolate leaves an impression in my mind, and the impression is very pleasant impression. Okay, since it's a pleasant impression, I want to repeat it. Since it is a pleasant impression, I want to repeat it again, get the pleasant impression again. So let me have chocolate again. That is vasana. Okay, vasana. And this is like a knot. Cravings are like knots. So cravings for, say, junk food, even if we know it is not good, but it's craving, it has become a kind of so much we are hooked to, or addictive behavior. We want to get rid of, but we cannot get rid of. And nowadays, doom scrolling. That is, I know I don't want to spend so much of time on social media, on my phone, but still I cannot resist. Vasana. It's a deep-rooted vasana. I loved one or two reels and one or two news items, and now it is being shown again and again in my feed, and I cannot stop scrolling. I keep on scrolling reels or shorts or whatever the names are. These are all vasanas. These are like knots, which because of which we cannot live up to our full life. These are like binding us down, taking, wasting so much of time, and also not wholesome behavior habits. These are all under vasana. Betty, you raised your hand. Would you like to say something?
Yes, I think someplace in the Yoga Sutra, it defines it as avidya, kama, and karma, which leads to a continuing samsara.
Yoga Sutra does not.
Right.
It is Upanishad and Shankaracharya who define knots as avidya, kama, and karma. Avidya, kama, and karma. That is Shankaracharya's definition of what are the effects of avidya. What is the defects of maya or ignorance. Avidya leads to kama, kama leads to karma. Okay.
So what word did he use, Maharaj? Scrolling? What scrolling? What was the word?
Doom scrolling. Doom. Doom.
Doom scrolling.
Doom scrolling. Yeah, doom scrolling. Indeed. So vasana. These are all vasana. So just as we might crave unhealthy foods, even when they are bad for us, our minds cling to past habits and desires. And what realization will do is, realization help us overcome these cravings. Not by force, but because we no longer feel the need to fill the void. Say, we feel like Purna Aham. I am full. I don't crave for anything. So it is like I realization is like what? Suppose earlier I was so much addicted to chocolate that whenever I used to go to the grocery store, I could not resist to going to the chocolate aisle. Now, after realization, it is like I can't resist. It to me, I just walk past the chocolate aisle, but don't feel any craving for the chocolates. I might not. So that is like bhidyate, hṛdaya granthiḥ. That is like the falling of the untying the knots of vasana and desire. Or earlier, suppose every 10 minutes I was reaching out for my phone to see is there any update, even if I did not want, my hands went automatically, okay, to look for the update. And after realization is like, no more, my hands are, I don't bother about. Notifications has come, new updates have come, I no longer am tempted by them. That is like untying the knots which were tying us down, which were creating anxiety, stress, and all of these. Now I no longer I am affected by them. That is like untying the knots of the heart. Yes, Purni, you raised your hand.
Yeah, I was thinking of vasana being something a little stronger than craving in this lifetime, but vasana is more like impressions left from your samskaras from previous lifetimes that have given you a tendency towards one thing or the other. But I guess in principle it's similar to a craving, but I just thought it was a little deeper.
Yeah, exactly. So exactly, it is the idea is same. Now these cravings, are formed again and again, over and over, which gathers momentum, more strong. That sometimes we need to bring in the concept of the other lives. Some of the cravings cannot be explained by this life's habits. Then we have a great recourse called karma. Karma and previous birth. Okay, so previous birth you had probably this kind of experiences, and now so this in this birth, even if we don't have exposure to that thing, but still from the very beginning itself, I am craving for that thing. Okay, so that may be explained by that a deep-rooted craving which has been formed by many lifetimes indulgence. Another way of explaining vasana could be this ego and selfishness. So sometimes especially teens nowadays, obsessed with their social media presence. They are constantly editing their selfies, different filter, different light, different texture and different editing tools they are adding, editing, adding, selfie and posting. Why? Because they are so much tied to their social self, this digital self, obsessed, and all for what? The external validation. So I have become now what people love to see me as. So that is what I have become now, ahamkara. I am now this not a real person anymore. I am what my followers, my friends want me to, and I am now identifying with my digital self. This is ahamkara, and the result is, it is, every research has shown this kind of digital self, identifying with digital self, only causes stress, anxiety, even suicidal ideation. All of this happens. One's self-worth, dignity, all of this goes downhill when we start identifying ourselves with our digital self. Same, it is not only digital self. Upanishad is telling that as long as when we are identifying our lesser self, our social self, our when we over-identify with our job title or our position, social status, or even our what we so much identify our race, gender, these identity things, identity, all of these becomes problematic. The more we over-identifying with our gender, over-identifying with our race, over-identifying with our political ideology, all of this actually problematic, over-identifying ourselves. And that is, can be said as not of the heart, one of the avidya granthiḥ. And so we are so much want to be the star employee of the company. I want to be the star employee or the CEO of the company, and this becomes so much identification with this kind of titles, status, that I lose sometimes the bigger picture of life. Bigger picture, too much of identification with temporary or transient things. That can also be called as invisible chain which tie us down. And what is more, they don't allow us to identify ourselves, objectify ourselves. When we become too much identified with our different statuses and social roles, we cannot objectify ourselves, and that causes sometimes problem. They call objectifying, and between objectifying and non-objectifying, the difference is like a problem, neighbor's problem. Okay, when my neighbor has a problem, then I can analyze the problem and come up with great ideas how to solve the problem. When that problem becomes my problem, I sometimes lose the capacity to objectively analyze the problem. And because it has become now my problem, and I have lost the bigger picture. and then I am so much into only a few particular angles of the problem. I become so much concerned about that I have lost the sight of the bigger picture. That is also like a knot. That is also like a knot. And all of these vanish when someone realizes that real spiritual identity. Then all this heart, all these knots like the vasana, the desire, falls away. Why? Because chidyante, all of them are cut. Why? Because I find that I am full. I'm already full, spiritually full. I'm vast, I'm not limited. Yes, I need these things for survival. I love these things. I like these things, but I am not bound by them. I am not bound by them. Similarly, I have identity, but this identity is not strongly connected with temporal, ephemeral identities. That is so liberating, just like I was carrying such a huge backpack and heavy backpack, and suddenly that is gone. I am no longer carrying such a huge load of vasana, of ego, of selfishness, ahamkara, mamakara, and vasana, samskara. Then I am feeling very free, light. It is light. So I would encourage you to think in a free time, what are the knots of our heart, and it will differ from person to person. That is, we can generalize them as desire or selfishness, but going for specifics for each of us, what we can identify, these are the knots. We know these are giving us troubles, and if it is so, what can we do about them? Take time and reflect on these. Wonderful ideas will come. Wonderful ideas. Not that solution will be immediately all the problems will be solved. Not that knots will be gone, but will be coming in a better awareness, self-awareness about what are our triggers, what are our triggers, what are our baggages we would like to get rid of. So that is knots, and those thoughts are gone when that reality is realized in both its aspects, that is transcendent aspect and immanent aspect. That was the one. Second is chidyante sarva saṃśayāḥ. So all the doubts about what is my true nature, what is the nature of the world, my connection with the world, my connection with others, all these doubts, then even doubts about even the teachings of the Upanishad, all these doubts will dissolve after realization. All of these things will appear in a very clear, in a clear way. As it were, so long we have been seeing everything through a fog, and suddenly this fog has been lifted. Or those who are elderly probably more understand, in an understandable situation, it's like cataract, having cataract and seeing everything. I am seeing everything. It is not that I am non-functional. I am functioning, I am driving, I am doing everything. But after the cataract is removed, suddenly everything becomes so clear. So clear. It is just like that. Chidyante sarva saṃśayāḥ. Shankaracharya says here, the saṃśayāḥ, doubt, is flowing in the mind of people from time immemorial, like the current of the water of Ganges. As the Ganges water is flowing, as it were, forever, it's flowing and flowing, so also Shankaracharya says that unillumined people have these doubts flowing like river Ganga all the time, flowing until they have this clarity of purpose, clarity of life, clarity of their true nature. So realization is like this transformation in worldview. It is like understanding our role, or better to tell which story I am a part of, which story I am a part of. That is very, very important. Unless we know which story we are part of, um, I mean, what I want to say that our many things, many activities, our actions, our aspirations, lifestyle, all very much depend upon what we think ourselves. I mean, in terms of which story we are part of. Okay, which story we are part of. So the clearer we have an idea which story we are part of, that we are spiritual beings, having going through all of these experiences, then our role become very clear. The idea of which story we are part of, the spiritual story we are part of, that becomes clear, and then everything falls in place. What is then? Priorities become different. Then worldly worries don't give us so much of worries anymore, because I am now no longer part of that feature film. I am now part of another movie where these concerns are not that big concerns at all. I have now a different purpose and different clarity about life. That is also chidyante sarva saṃśayāḥ. All doubts about my role, my connection, and my place in this world. So that also can be a exercise in reflection, that what are the doubts? What are the doubts I am dealing with? All of us have some doubts about future or about present, about many things. So that is a good place to think about what are my doubts? What are the doubts because of which I am suffering? What are those doubts? And what step I can take to clarify those doubts? That is also a good spiritual reflection, is an exercise. Then finally, so two things we have mentioned: the goal of the result of aparakṣanubhuti, or realization. One is the knots of the heart, the desire, cravings, selfishness, ego, identity. These drop off, and we feel so much liberated, and all the doubts not only about God or supernatural reality, but doubts about our role in the world, doubt about the purpose of life, all of this meaning of life, all of these are resolved when this kind of realization happens. Finally, what happens? Chidyante, kṣīyante asya karmāṇi. So all karmas are exhausted. So what is karma? Karma means the results of our action. Karma, the word means literally action, but it has also got another meaning, that is the results of our action. Results of our action. That is, it is invisible something that remains stored. So I do something wrong to you. Okay, so immediately you may retort to me, or you may not. You may digest it. Okay, I did something wrong. You forgave me. So it may appear that I did a bad karma, but I did not get the result, immediate result. But Upanishad says that no, all our karmas, whether we get a immediate visible result or not, they produce something which is invisible and which remains stored. And where stored? Where? In our, compare it as a bank account. Okay, bank account or an online account. We are purchasing on Amazon, and Amazon is suppose collecting our points, or suppose you are purchasing flight tickets in United, and United is keeping on giving you miles and points. They are being accumulated in your account. Not for immediately you paid the money and you got the ticket from here to New York, but also some points were added to your account, which immediately we are not so much aware of or not using it. They will come back to us when later on, when there will be circumstances will be congenial, appropriate, they will come back. Okay. So this is karma, all of us know, and they say there are different types of karma. That is what we are doing right now. As I am giving a class, I am also creating karma, which will bring some result in the future. That is called kriyamana. That is the karmas I am creating right now. Kriyamana means creating. Okay, it's ongoing karma I am creating. Another set of karma is the karmas I did in the past, but they have not started giving the result yet. All of these are called sanchita. Sanchita means saved, accumulated karma. And they say this accumulated karma is not only of this life, but maybe of different lifetimes. So all of them are there. And among this, all the accumulated karmas, some already have started giving their fruits. For example, they say what kind of birth, which family I will be born, which type of nature I will get. All of these are determined by previous karma. Now I have taken my birth, and with some circumstances, some family, that part has already started playing its role. I was born and having this body going through. So that karma has also already started giving result. So they say that when realization happens, all of these karmas fall away. What does it mean? What does it mean? It means that we no longer identify with our bank account, closing the bank account altogether. So whatever points, whatever credit, all that accumulated, there's no one to reap the benefit or the good or bad, everything. That is like realization. Realization is I was identifying as this body, agency, I am working, I am such and such person working. But after realization, my identity becomes so vast, I no longer identify with this body mind anymore. So even though I am doing work, after realization, I am not creating any karma because the identity is missing. That ego that I am doing the work is missing. The agency is missing. So all the karmas we are creating, but we are not creating any fresh karma which will come back to us. This is after realization. No fresh karma is being generated because now I no longer identify with that. I have now become, suppose, so rich that I do not care about that small bank account I had in a local bank. I almost close my account. Okay, I close my account from this small account. Kind of, it's a for understanding. So my identity has become now so vast, although I am working, so no agency. Because of no agency, no strong agency, no karma is being created. Okay. So, kriyamana karma, ongoing karma. I am doing the karmas, but not for any selfish way, not out of ego. So they are not going to give me any result. Now, what about those which were already accumulated? So they also get burnt out. They say roasted. They become roasted like roasted seed. A seeds, when it is roasted, no longer can sprout. Similarly, all the previous karmas after realizations become like roasted seed. So the bank accounts were there, but there was no one to claim the effect of the bank account. But suppose just before realization, I ordered a checkbook from the bank and it has arrived. So no one can then deny it because I already had ordered it and the bank already released it. That type of karma has already started bearing fruit. And so this verse, this part is a very bone of contention among the scholars. That do all the karmas get burnt out? If all the karmas are destroyed, that means I will not even be alive, because this body, this life is a product of karma. And if I am alive, living in this body, means those karmas are being worked out. So that means not all the karmas have been burnt, not all the karmas have fallen away. So then they say that no, Shankaracharya says all the karmas fall away except the parāvare. Parāvare means which has already started bearing fruit. So, for example, you decide, I no longer will drive the car. Okay, so you put a brake, but out of inertia, it will still go on for some time because you have been driving the car. So a few feet it will go because out of the inertia. So Shankaracharya says, parāvare, out of parāvare is working. So the person alive means there are still some karmas left. Which are those karmas? Which have started this life. And so we have to work them out. The inertia has to work itself out. So except those things, all the other karmas are burnt away. Okay, so that is the promise of this Upanishad. So what the exertion of karma means, like all the present, letting go of the regrets of the past and worries about the future outcomes, all is burnt because of this realization. So the point is, we don't have to wait for that final realization to tackle all these knots of the hearts or doubt or karmas. We can take even small steps to in a positive way to how to untie the knots. For that, we have to reflect. What are the knots in the first place? What are the doubts? And in our limited capacity under present circumstances, until that final thing happens, what we can do about it. That also is a lesson, take away lesson from this verse. That yes, that final realization will untie all the knots of the heart, take away selfishness, and dissolve all the doubts, and exhaust all the karmas. But even otherwise, in our present circumstances, if we are not illumined, what can we do about? What karma we should be mindful about while doing? what kind of karma we are doing now, that kind of mindfulness will help. What are the vasanas, desires, which are holding us down? What are the doubts? What are the doubts are what leads to conflicts. Doubts leads to conflict. What are the conflicts? What are the dilemmas? And what is the root of this dilemma? Can we do anything about them? That also is a reflection, and that is also a good, meaningful reflection for a spiritual aspect that we can do. The next verse is about the again about the lotus of the heart. Lotus of the heart, and when the realization happens, what is the experience like? The nature of the experience itself. The illumined people, when they realize that reality in the luminous heart, what do they feel? What do they experience? That is the next verse. So we shall take that up in our next class. Yeah, Purni, yeah, go ahead. You have a question? Purni, you raised your hand? Oh, I have to unmute.
No, Swamiji, not me.
Yeah, your hand is raised. Oh, it was probably accidentally. All right. Any question?
I think Betty had her hand raised.
I was going to ask if that meant there would be no more rebirth.
Yeah, exactly. No more rebirth. That is the point of exhaustion of all karmas.
Thank you.
Yeah. But who cares about rebirth, frankly speaking? That's why I did not bring the idea at all. We are so happy with this birth. Why to forsake this birth? so
Maharaj, a question.
yeah.
So they say that after realization, the body dies in 21 days, the body falls off. Is that because all the karmas are getting exhausted, that there's nothing to go, the inertia has exhausted itself?
Yeah, exactly. Anything you would like to add to these doubts, to these thoughts?
Yeah, I was going to add to that unless special people, they can, like the Ishwar Kotis, they can continue to live. Even after realization, they can carry on. Not 21 days. The 21 days limits don't apply to them. Just for ordinary people, they suddenly get rid. Swami Sarvagatananda in Boston, he gave his experience that when he was in Kankal, he saw a sadhu came and he was realized, and exactly 21 days he died after that. Yeah.
Yeah, he writes that. Yeah. Is pratyahara the same as reflections you spoke of? No, no. Pratyahara means withdrawing our mind from its natural occupation in the world and withdrawing it and trying to employ it into some specific sacred idea or mantra or image. That is called pratyahara.
What is I'm sorry, I might not be saying this right, but I'm gonna try. What is is it swadhyaya?
Yes, sadhya. Sadhya means reflection.
Okay, thank
One
you.
of the meanings of sadhya means self-study, read a book. But it also in a deeper way, sadhya means to reflect on or study our own mind, our own attachment, our deep-rooted fear, deep-rooted motivations. That is also sadhya.
And that is the same as the reflections you just
Yes.
spoke of.
Spiritual reflection, yeah.
That's also in the niyamas of the Ashtanga, the
Yoga.
Eightfold
Yeah.
Yoga.
Yeah. Right. Yes, there is sadhya. Yeah. Sadhya is there.
Could you spell that for me so I don't mess up next time?
Yeah. So it is, okay. SVADHYA.
Thank you.
Yeah, the A, SVA, this A is A. So theoretically, technically, it should have a mark over it, diacritical marks to distinguish between A and A. Sadhya. Oh, sadhya. Another, sorry. I spelled it wrong.
Swadhya.
YA. Sadhya.
Swadhya.
So there are two A. One is Swa and Dhya. This is also A. But the last A is A. Sa Dhya Ya. Sadhya.
Thank you.
Yes.
It reminded me of Swamiji's hymn on Sri Ramakrishna. Saṃśayāḥ rakṣasa nāṣa mahastra.
Saṃśayāḥ. Yes, doubt. So in that hymn, he mentioned saṃśayāḥ, doubt, which is the modern doubts that was destroyed by Sri Ramakrishna. What is modern doubt? Modern doubt is about the existence of God. That is the modern doubt. And that was like a demon. And that was destroyed by Sri Ramakrishna. How? Because his own experiences. Through his experiences, he established that these are not false or fake things. This can be experienced. So those doubts were destroyed. All right, so we stop here. Next day we shall take up the next two verses, and that will end the no, we have three more to go. But the next verse is also very good. Light of light. Jyotisham Jyoti. Light of light. Yes, I see another raised hand. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, Maharaj, very quick question. I'm just wondering because the third part is where all our karma and karma phala is kind of goes away. So really, in terms of doing nishkam karma, or even the idea of it, it's not truly possible based on this. Or I'm making, maybe we can practice it, but true nishkam karma, is it even possible before this happens?
Yeah, exactly. True nishkama karma is not possible. Desireless work, unselfish work, true unselfish work is not possible in the truest sense until we have had the realization. That is true. But nishkama karma as a practice, trying to become unselfish, trying to become unselfish. That is from very selfish work to less selfish work. From that to even lesser selfish work. That should be the our idea of nishkama karma. Earlier I was only thinking about me. Now I am thinking about not only me but also others. And of course, I am getting joy out of it, so it cannot be nishkama. I find joy, and that's why I am doing it. In that sense, it is not purely unselfish, but this is better than only caring for myself. In that sense, it is nishkama.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Yeah, yeah. All right, then. Let's close with Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And we have next Thursday here our Diwali celebration, Kali Puja and Diwali. Those who can make it, please come. Festival of Lights. Okay, let's say, yes, Jinaji, go ahead.
Before we close, could I have the email address of the person?
Yeah, I'll send you. Okay.
Oh, privately. Okay, thank you.
Okay. She's Anna. She's in our class. Okay. And you are Gina. So I will send you Anna's email ID, and you can just talk to her. Okay. Okay. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om peace, peace, peace.